This card is the best card from Lost Caverns of Ixalan. It's not close. Well, actually, it's from Lost Caverns of Ixalan, Commander. You know what I mean. Hello, folks. Phil Gallagher, aka ThrabenU, here for another Legacy video. And over the next 2 days, I am going to try to show you how powerful of a card Broadside Bombardiers are. And first, let's kind of look at the core rule text here. So this is Menace and Haste, meaning it comes down, it does its thing, it's hard to block, it's got a 2/2 body, so it's not dying to Orcish Bowmasters, and it has a strong ability. Boast, more on that in a second. Sacrifice another creature or artifact, and it deals damage equal to 2 plus the sacrifice permanent's mana value to any target. Let's start with the Boast. Boast is an activated ability that you can activate once per turn, and you can only do it once you've attacked. However, you can do it at any point after you have attacked, including in the Declare Attacker step. What that means is you can use this ability prior to blocks being declared to get the blocker out of the way that could stop this creature. Now, specifically within the context of Legacy, we have plenty of tokens, say a token off a Goblin Rabble Master, or we have things like Chrome Mox that people are playing out to accelerate into your threats. Well, after about turn 5, that Chrome Mox is maybe doing nothing at that stage because you've made more land drops. And sometimes you reach a point in the game where you don't need a block piece like a Trinisphere or a Chalice of the Void anymore. And when that happens, you can convert these dead cards or these redundant cards into damage. I want you to imagine that at the low side of this, a Chrome Mox that you draw when you are Hellbent is now a shock instead of a card that does nothing. That's the floor of this. Now I want you to imagine you attack in with this and a Caves of Chaos Adventurer. You at minimum, deal 7 points of damage to your opponent, maybe more, because that Caves of Chaos Adventurer might have 2+1/+1 counters on it. And now you go and fling that Caves of Chaos Adventurer at your opponent's face to finish the game. Frankly, this card is nuts. And I am so excited to try this out. So the goal is, today we're going to try this out in a Moon Stompy shell, and tomorrow we're going to try this out in a Goblins shell, and we're going to see how it performs in both. So here's the full deck list. Essentially, we are slotting 4 of these into an existing proven shell of Mono Red Prison, Moon Stompy, whatever it is you want to call it. And none of the other cards that are in here are exciting or interesting. And I have not done any adjusting to this deck list, and neither has this pilot that has 5-0'd. This is just a powerful card that you can slot into a shell, and consider attack with this for 2 damage, post-combat, evoke a Fury, kill maybe 2 of your opponent's creatures before the evoke trigger goes off, chuck the Fury at your opponent's face for 7 damage. I'm salivating at the mouth thinking of all the wild things that I can do. And if you end up, wrong button. If you end up wanting to buy any Broadside Bombardiers, I recommend Cool Stuff Inc. Use promo code ThrabenU to save 5% on your next order. And if you want to try out this deck list, remember there's a link down in the video description to moxfield.com as well. Let's go fling some things at people's faces. Okay, we're not doing anything hot on turn 1, but turn 2 and on should be pretty good. I'm going to kind of keep this despite the amount of damage that my lands might end up doing to me over the course of this game. Looks like my opponent's mulliganing pretty aggressively. We're better against a fair deck than an unfair deck with this hand. I don't have the Trinispheres, Blood Moons, Chalices, and such that are in my sort of anti-combo toolkit here. Don't like seeing that. Do like seeing that. This may not be enough, but that was among my better top decks. No Entomb in response? Oh, happy day. Um. Deck's cracked, folks. You saw it here first. Broadside Bombardiers broken. So, mulligan to 5 bad lands is like solidly cementing Reanimator in my mind as the thing that my opponent is probably playing. And I think even if I'm wrong, I'm still boarding in the ley lines. Dead Gone is playable as a way to bounce opposing creatures that sneak their way into play. But I think I am trying to stop them from getting into play in the first place. And I'm looking at either Fury or Caves of Chaos Adventure as the card that I'm going to board out here. Kind of explaining that one of the easiest ways to lose a Reanimator matchup is for you to have a ley line and then your opponent just like thought seizes you and reanimates your Caves of Chaos Adventurer. If my opponent is actually playing something like Grixis Control and they just like bricked off, like it's awkward to board these out because they would be quite good there. But I think I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to go down 2 Furies to just play some more copies of Magus of the Moon, as like disrupting my opponent matters more than winning the game in a timely fashion. Furies are still okay, like my opponent can sideboard some things like Dalthy Voidwalker that are kind of annoying. Turn 1 Trinisphere. That's good. I don't know that it's good enough on the draw. Like, such a huge portion of the time, my opponent just, like, Dark Rituals and goes. And if they thought seize me, they can take a Spirit Guide and keep me off of a turn 1 play anyway. I think I'm going to fish a little bit for a Leyline hand on the draw. Yeah, we'll keep going. So this is the 5. This is worse than the Trinisphere hand. I don't need a lot of cards to win this matchup. I am going to go to 4, but on 4, I probably just keep mana. Where's all the mana at? Yeah, just no. Just checking. I did board in ley lines. I did board in ley lines. And we're on 3 at this point. I'm going to keep. This goes back. This goes back. And Chromox without a red card to pair with it is awkward. I think this goes back. And I keep the Chalice to play on 1. But this is like very much not good. We're now in the tank about something. Alright, we're going. Dark Ritual? Yeah. My turn 1 transfer wouldn't have been enough. Yep. Oh, I mulligan looking for that ley line, but we sure didn't find it. Okay, opponent has blue for show and tell as the backup. We're not going to beat this Atraxa on a mull to 3. So that's fine. It's super unfortunate that we just never saw a ley line in any of those cards. This is fine. I can, like, pull the Fury to play a couple Dead Gones if I want to bounce creatures out of play that slip through. But again, I think it is more about preventing my opponent from doing the thing. And now, like, on the play, I will have Chalice, Blood Moon, Leyline, and Trinisphere as relevant ways to interact with my opponent. Also, can Broadside throw itself? Because that's relevant versus Lifelinker. Okay, it is another. But I guess this has Menace, so it's not getting blocked. So I can get rid of whatever my opponent blocks. Alright, that's a good thing to have on my radar. I'm cursed. This is a perfect hand if it had a red source. So this one has to go back. This one's a keep. My sequencing is probably turn 1 3-ball, turn 2 Magus. Keep this, pitching the Fury. Giving my opponent a chance to fetch a swamp is like not the greatest, but Trinisphere just says, like, you're not winning the game immediately. And I think that's pretty important. I also don't have to play the Magus if my opponent, like, plays a fetch land. Like, I can just play the Goblin Rabble Master instead and go the beatdown route if I think that's going to be better. Another Trinisphere is not good. Magus is better at stopping a show and tell based plan where my opponent wins the game with 1 spell. but doesn't put me at a very good clock for winning the game on my own. I think I am going to try to win the game and work towards Rabblemaster as play 1 and just try to kill my opponent. And if I draw a soul land, I can follow it up with Magus of the Moon. I also, don't know for sure that my opponent has 3 lands in their starting hand. Yeah, and sometimes it's that easy. Take your free wins, folks. Today's video is sponsored by Moxfield.com. Just the best place to host your deck lists online, just full period. It is. And I can say lots of nice things about them, or I can just show you that I have 328 deck lists on this site, and I think that's about the best endorsement that I can give them. Before I get going here, I also want to thank Matthew for giving me a dealer's choice donation deck list to make this league possible and allow me to test these fun new cards. Apologies for missing that in the intro. Threw myself off my game once I clicked off the wrong button. We're getting forced. Pitching a Ponder. My hand's really good. I can even just Chalice again next turn, regardless of whether or not my opponent wastelands me. Alright, we're probably playing against a Delver deck from the look of things. That's targeting themselves, so they're deciding whether or not they're fetching. No fetch? Sure. I think I like Chalice of the Void around Daze this turn. I say as I draw the absolutely fucking brutal Trinisphere. I think I want to do that next turn, though. It's a little awkward exposing this card to Wasteland. It's currently my only red source. Oh, wow, another Force of Will. Pitching Daze. All right, we played around something correctly. I think I was supposed to play another Ancient Tomb there. But, I really want to loot away that Ancient Tomb. So, I don't know where that leaves us. Didn't get punished by Wasteland, though, which is nice. So I just have 6 mana this turn? That's sort of fucked up. 2 card types in graveyard. Land is the 3rd type. I think I'm just into resolving my cards here. Doing this. And then next turn, most of the time, I play Broadside and kill this. And even if I don't kill it, I think I outclock my opponent even from 10 life. Opponent's not guaranteed to have a 3rd land. Ponder is probably the single scariest card they could have right now. Alright, there's the 3rd land. Actually, yeah, Murktide Region's pretty bad too, right? Yeah, that's Ponder. I will have to throw a relevant card to get rid of Dragon Rage Channeler. I can throw my Trinisphere to get rid of it. I didn't really want to do that, but it's probably where we're ending up. Alright, there's the 3/3 status. I'm at 9, which is really 7. Ooh. Yeah, we're keeping those. It's ever so slightly awkward. So I'm going to turn counter spells back on. Or no, I can throw after I resolve Blood Moon. Alright, so opponent's at 12. I go to 5, resolve Blood Moon, activate this ability, target you, throw my Trinisphere. The opponent has some Lightning Bolts in deck, and a couple Dragon Rage Channelers, and then the rest of their cards are now irrelevant, and I'm about to be able to copy Broadside. This is hot. Hey, it is a Chalice of the Void. I can just play that post-combat when I have more mana. Send them. Opponent's at 8. I'll play a Chalice of the Void on 1, which eliminates all of my opponent's remaining outs, and I can also Broadside throw this treasure at their face. I respect the Lightning Bolt. Yep. All right. Activate this. Target you. Throw a treasure. And I just have onboard lethal. Card's good. Got a couple options for how I approach sideboarding. So the big question is am I leylining or not leylining in the matchup? Because if I leyline Murktide Regent, is less of an issue, but I also can just approach this from the like kill your creatures, lock out your mana angle as well. So I don't like Trinisphere in the Delver matchup. I think it's very easy to just get wastelanded and locked under your own Trinisphere, where you can't like deploy your Chrome Mox to help you get back in the game, or you can't cast your Chalice that can help lock your opponent out. I'm also not sure that I want Caves of Chaos Adventurer like on the draw versus Daze and Wasteland. It's a little rough. If I board all those out, I can go like bam, bam, round it out with that, and I think that's okay. Leaves me one creature lighter than in game one. Let's try this. Hand's great. Keep. Wasteland is the scariest card versus me with this hand. So the big question is like, do I just jam Blood Moon on turn one? And I think the answer is no. I think I just play a Chalice of the Void around Daze here. Like, this can be Spell Pierced, and that's fine. This can be Force of Willed, and that's fine. You bolting my face? Bolting my face. Does that mean this is resolving? Oh. I pay. Okay. Wasteland's still scariest card against me. I have bought a lot of time. Not Wasteland. We didn't rip the red source, which is unfortunate, but I don't think I'm supposed to lead on Fable on turn one, because then that gets dazed, and I'm just, like, behind literally forever. With multiple Furies in my hand, even if my opponent plays a creature, I should be able to handle it. And, like, the creature they would play is probably, like, a Bowmaster that is just cleanly answered by the stuff that I'm doing. Okay, now I believe I play a Fable in an attempt to stabilize my mana, rather than trying to lock my opponent out of the game with Blood Moon, because that just sets me back on mana quite a bit. My opponent can hardcast a Daze, and, like, that's fine. Yep, that's okay. Like, that's an exchange in my opponent's favor, but some decently huge portion of their deck is already offline because of my Chalice. That is what I don't want to see. So this game probably now drags on for a little while, where it's like, which happens first, my opponent drawing Murktide Regent, or me drawing another Soul Land to continue my nonsense. There's also a new card from Lost Cavern of Ixalan that I forget the name of, that could answer my Chalice. Just more land. Just more moons. So Hardcast Force of Will is now live. End of turn fetch. I'm just gonna discard a redundant Blood Moon here. No play from my opponent still. That's a land. Not paying the life, and hopefully I draw another mana source and we're off to the races here. My next intended play is Fable of the Mirror Breaker. Again, kind of stabilize the mana and then go from there. But the deck is not cooperating. Let's discard one of our new cards here. Thank you, Leyline. Very cool. We will just discard that. I'm fine with letting my opponent know that I sideboarded those in. 6th land drop. If I were my opponent, I would Force of Will the fuck out of this Chrome Box. I don't know what goes under here. Rabblemaster plus Broadside is very cute together, but I think I'm a couple of turns away from wanting to cast Rabblemaster. Like, I think I am just offering a Fable of the Mirror Breaker up to the gods of counter spells. Yep. And then we'll try to either resolve another one next turn, or if I draw a land, play a Blood Moon around Daze. Sure. Any Murktides in the house? No Murktides in the house. Okay, fantastic. Land drop is great here. We've gotten lucky with a lot of hits. Let's attempt to stop a Murktide now. Opponent can, like, reasonably have another Force of Will, but we're playing this around Daze effects right now, very comfortably. I don't think we're dead to a Murktide Regent. Like, I think I just, like, play a Broadside, evoke a Fury, and we move on with our lives. I have done a good job of dodging. I don't think we're doing that. I think that just gets looted away. Or alternatively becomes a shock. Another one. Sure. I'm not going to like Chrome Mox and then play this in 2 days here. It's relatively free for me to wait and play around that. Alright. Playline's not particularly good. Let's play Broadside. 4th Force of Will? I mean, opponent had to be drawing something, I guess. Alright, for the rest of this game, my spells are probably resolving. Assuming I play them around days. This game's losable with that Broadside gone. A City of Traders. 1, 2, 3. City of Traders is 4, 5. For Fury. I am comfortable just throwing this creature into play then. Okay, what do you have now? Sure. I will pay. I mean, I get it. It converts a daze into a shock. It's relevant. Sure doesn't feel good. Sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. Ooh, looks like opponent finally drew a Murktide or some other card. That is an 8/8. What am I doing? Just attacking in, seeing if my opponent takes it, and then responding appropriately. How many dazes has my opponent used? My opponent has used 3 of their 4 dazes. It's at 6 or more that this doubles. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I guess I can just Shatter Skull Smashing, not playing around the 4th daze, and keep my Fury. I think I'm into that. It's a Junk Leyline. Cast here. Alright, we're going to deal 12 damage to that Murktide. Did not have the presumably final relevant counterspell that was in their deck. Something's coming. Black, black, blue. A Dismember, sure. No, that's fine. We're just going to play this. We just want to end the game in 2 turns here before my opponent has more time to find a Murktide. There's still 4 instants and sorceries in the graveyard to grow a Murktide. This is an incredibly long game of Legacy, by the way. Like, even by like Chalice of the Void Trinisphere standards where we grind a game to a halt. This was both of us just kind of drawing pieces of interaction that just lined up well with the other. Like, my Chalice shut off most of their hand. Their force, daze, slowed me down a lot. But ultimately, we got there. Notably here, if my opponent does play the Murktide Regent, they can't attack with it anymore unless it kills me in 1 shot, because my Fury kills them on the backswing. Okay, I am on the play here. I don't like my hand. I only have 1 permanent source of mana, and I don't think Chalice of the Void with no follow-up play is usually a keepable hand. This one's good. So this is Ancient Tomb, Chrome Mox, Imprint, Spirit Guide. Attempt one of these 2 cards with another one as follow-up in a minute. This one's a keep. I'm going to get rid of the Disappearing Land, I think, here. Here we go. Which 3-drop do I want to play blind? I think I want to play turn 1 Blood Moon on the play blind. Just give my opponent no room to respond to that. Sure. Opponent finds Bayou. So this game might be decided based on whether or not my opponent has a basic forest in their opener. They do not. We are playing against probably a like Reclaimer Elves deck list, Cradle Control, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, there we go. I don't know off the top of my head how many basic forests that deck is playing, but it's not a lot. Yeah. So this is where the fun begins. This now can murder any creature that my opponent plays out, and I don't think I need to start flinging artifacts yet. I'm going to hold this land as well, in case I draw a Fable of the Mirrorbreaker. Yeah, looks like opponent's going to play it out, but I think we're done here. Put a Chalice on 1 to keep mana dorks from coming into play. Attack with this. Again, I don't think I need to start flinging Chrome Mox yet. I might start thinking about it next turn. It's just on discard dot plan. We will fling this Chrome Mox though. So this is the pay 3 mana, cast a Chrome Mox. Don't imprint it. Attack for 2. And then turn this Chrome Mox that had no text this game into shock. Like, I know we're already winning pretty hard because of this Blood Moon, but like that added damage and board control is just insane in this situation. All right, I am interested in these cards to control my opponent's creatures. I don't think I'm also interested in Magus of the Moon on the draw. I'm going to take a look at how many basics my opponent's deck tends to play. The first list I found has 3. I'm not really sure that I want to mess around with boarding Magus in. I think we're just going to go extra removal. I'm not really sure that my Chalices and Trinispheres are good. Like, I think I turn these into these cards. The Chalices are just, like, rough when I'm on the draw, especially when a lot of my opponent's engine is built around a 2-drop that can just start getting mana dorks into play anyway. 2 ley lines feels weird. I guess I'm playing 2 Magus to round things out. I guess, like, shutting off Cradle is still, like, a real thing, even if I don't take my opponent off of green mana fully. Fury is a great card, but I don't think strong enough that this is a keep. I just don't have persistent mana, and triple Blood Moon is not really the way I want to go about my life. No. This is just a no. Like, I have no persistent mana, and I blow most of this hand to put a Broadside into play, and while that card's good, with no further support, I don't, and by that I mean like any source of like tokens or crap artifacts or whatever, I don't think this is going to work. This is a 5-card hand. It is easily the best hand of the lot. This one goes back, and I think Rabble Master goes back, although I don't know. Fury requiring a second red card is a thing. I think I assume that the Fury is fine, even if I don't do it on turn 1. I use Blood Moon to stabilize my mana and to actually give me red mana. And we go from there. I think my opponent gets out ahead of me some portion of the time. And then I use Fury to catch up. And drawing this like double-faced land is quite good for me, because it means that I at least have the option to Fury next turn. Which is, frankly, a huge deal. Ooh, yeah. Ooh, yeah. Oh man, the Quirion Ranger can bounce the Dryad Arbor, though. I mean, it's still it's still an even trade, like these two for these two, and it bounces one of my opponent's land drops. Like, we're okay with that. I also probably pitch the Spirit Guide rather than the red land now, because the red land can just be played as a spell later. So bam. Bam. We'll nuke all 3, or at least try to. Oh my god, my opponent didn't bounce their Dryad Arbor. Holy shit. We take those. We take those. Sure. Yeah, this is fine. I'm gonna try to greed with this Shatter Skull Smashing. I'm not just gonna remove a 1/1 here, I don't think. A little awkward if my opponent like plays land Elvish Visionary specifically, because I give my opponent 1 more draw. But like, this is a very powerful card, and I don't think I just want to treat it as Lightning Bolt here when it could be Plague Wind. Do the children even know what Plague Wind is anymore? They might not. I'm at 16. This is now a land working towards Fury. I'm good with that. Yeah. Awkward draw, but I think it's fine. It means that basically any draw next turn other than another artifact just allows me to play this Fury and maybe 2 for 1 my opponent. I say maybe because like they should bounce that elf, but they sure didn't previously. All right, so things have changed. Now we just play Chrome Mox, don't imprint, play Broadside, attack for my 2 points of damage, and then post-combat we turn Chrome Mox into shock getting rid of this Wirewood symbiote. Man, this card is so nice. Note that in the not too distant future, like, I'm just going to hardcast this Fury, and then I have the option to throw it at my opponent's face to finish the game if I would like. Yep. Do I just put the Fury in play? Or do I just take this 2-for-1 again? And then just any other land drop I draw later is Fury. I think I greed here. I just have such good control of this game that I don't think I need to give up a good resource to get further on board as far as like a threat is concerned. Yep. So now we just cast the Fury, kill the next thing. Dome my opponent for 4. Bash for 2, and next turn I have lethal by throwing Fury at my opponent's face. Or like I put my opponent into chump block mode. Which I'm good with either way. And this has Menace and Haste, so... Oh, yeah. Okay. No, this is fair. This is okay. Alright, send him. Yeah, my opponent just takes it. Goes to 3. Broadside, target you. Throw Fury. Good God. This card is so choice. Alright, while this deck often wants to do the turbo thing and like make a meaningful turn 1 play, I think with turn 2 Fable into multiple Caves of Chaos Adventurers after... You know what, I'm just gonna shut up and play a Trinisphere real quick. Alright. Bayou. Bayou's not a basic. It is a crop rotation, so we're presumably playing against like a Dark Depths Thespian stage deck. And the goal now is kill the opponent before they can make enough land drops to naturally kill me. I think that means just playing my most aggressive card here. We're just going to play Caves of Chaos Adventurer into Caves of Chaos Adventurer. And hope that that does it. A Broadside would be a pretty great draw right now. Basic Plains even. Sure. These are some interesting lands. I am going to go down the left side, even though I could get Swords to Plowshared here. I still just want Trap. Alright, did not eat Swords to Plowshares. This is a mistake. Just active mistake. So they should have done this with the Forge trigger on the stack to fizzle that trigger. They gave me 2 more life than they need to. And they are a Merit Lodge deck. So, like, that 2 life fucking matters. Alright. So I'm going to play this and trap them. I am at 21. I could be at 19. And that is huge. Alright, opponent is at 13. There's the Dark Depths. I am at 21 life. I will draw a card. These Ancient Tombs are awkward right now. The other Caves of Chaos Adventurer is a little awkward. Can't play Fury. Can't really play Caves of Chaos Adventure. Yeah, so this is just my line. I guess I am hoping to find a Broadside next turn, either off... No, I guess off the Looting. I can't really find it off Throne of the Dead 3, right? Yeah, that just doesn't make sense. I won't have a... Or no, is it if I attacked or if the creature attacked? I think it's if I attacked. That wording distinction might be relevant. Sure. Yeah, I die here if my opponent doesn't do bad Swords to Plowshares timing. Orcish Bowmasters. Lol. Alright, that's unfortunate. So my opponent is like an Abzan Depths deck. So like these Chalices and Trinispheres are going to be pretty medium against what my opponent is doing. I'm looking to just kill them. Like I'm looking at these 8 cards, probably for these 8 cards. Like I can think about Chalices and Trinispheres a little bit more when I'm on the play. But I think this is more get them dead game rather than the lock pieces. Like the issue is that Trinisphere doesn't actually stop them from just making land drops and doing the Dark Depths thing, and Chalice doesn't stop them from making land drops and doing the Dark Depths thing. It just like slows down some of the intermediate steps, and accordingly I'm not the biggest fan. This does not have enough persistent mana. This is a mulligan. This YOLO is a little harder than I would like. So this is Chrome Mox, Imprint, Fiery Confluence, City of Traders, Spirit Guide, Caves of Chaos Adventurer. That gets me another land drop. I can keep a Fiery Confluence to go to my opponent's dome to race while keeping 3 mana, which is technically 4 mana. This is fine. Or no, I have to throw back 1 card. Probably throw back the basic mountain then and keep the Confluence. I would have trouble casting a 4-drop immediately. I think that's fine. Alright. Called shot, Force of Vigor on this right at this moment would be awkward. Otherwise, I think we're good. Alright. Probably going down the right side of the dungeon this time. Unless my opponent doesn't leave up turn 1 Swords to Plowshares, then I go down the left side. Alright, my opponent, I don't know, randomly walked away from the computer for a little while or something, but we've got our land. That does not answer Caves of Chaos Adventurer. That might. There's a green sun. So that's presumably, what, like Elvish Reclaimer? I can just yeet that immediately with Fiery Confluence. That's probably fine to do so. Let's go ahead and attack first. Just make sure we don't hit anything super crazy. Den of the Bugbear. Sure. Alright, opponent goes to 13. So let's go. Bam. Play this. This is worth losing this for. Let's cast this. Let's do 2 damage to each creature and destroy target artifact, choosing their Mox Diamond. So this cost me my City of Traders, but it kills this Mox Diamond and the Elvish Reclaimer, leaving me in a pretty ideal situation. Like, I've got the initiative with my opponent on a 2-turn clock, damn near a 1-turn clock, counting a fetch land. All right, you need a big play. I don't think that's big enough. What if I draw Broadside? Oh, we'll trap our opponent. Oh, okay, they're not even going to continue. That's fair. What was I going to draw? Would have drawn another Caves of Chaos Adventurer, revealed a Shatter Skull. Good stuff. So my opponent gets to be on the play this time and leverage their resources a little bit better. So, like, my removal spells like Fury and Dead Gone will be better on this game where I'm on the draw. Not that they're bad when I'm on the play. My mana doesn't quite work with this hand. I'm 1 red source away from this hand being damn near perfect. We have to mulligan this. Those are approximately my thoughts on this hand. Where I probably keep it is just like Magus into Safety Magus into Rabble Master. Or I might even just keep Shatter Skull Smashing, honestly. Rabble Master just gets stalled out a lot of the time. I'm going to keep this land because assuming that things go my way, I can just like choose to play this as a land safely. Alright. This is not the speed that I wanted. It's not the perfect hand or anything. But hopefully it's good enough. Again, removal would be cool. Not removal. Oops, all goblins. I believe that I still want to play this. It cuts off an avenue of attack. And this is honestly maybe harder to kill than the Blood Moon. I don't know, my opponent's got Swords to Plowshares, so like it swings back and forth both ways. A Wasteland. Sure. I mean, that's pretty good if they can like Swords and then Wasteland this land. That slows me down a lot. Okay. Ooh, it might be even worse. So, this is a fun interaction. Dark Depths enters play with no counters, and then my opponent gets a 20/20. And I get Wastelanded as well. And I did not draw Dead Gone to attempt to have an out here. So we got, and the trophy run is halted. GG's. All right, we're on the play. We get to play Trinisphere on turn 1, so we do that. Goodbye, Spirit Guide. Hello, Stax Piece. Yeah. And, like, we have a bunch of lands, so, like, we're not gonna get just, like, wastelanded out of this game either. Ooh, that's better than playing Broadside immediately. That allows me to loot through these lands, and it also makes a token, which I can throw with this if I need to. Also note, throwing Trinisphere is Lava Axe. It is just 5 damage at the dome. Triome? Triome, sure. We're presumably playing against some Leyline Binding Bean nonsense, which means we get another Time Walk here. Yeah, like fetch your land, but Trinisphere says no. Ooh, yeah. I think I just loot through both lands here. A Chrome Mox, slightly awkward currently. So let's play this. It resolves. Go to combat. Attack for 4. Making a shock. So initial damage puts my opponent to 14. Throw this treasure token at their face. Put them to 12. I am going to just play this as a land. And I have another broadside for next turn. So my opponent's probably dead next turn. Like, the second broadside in particular is brutal here. Sure. I can also just activate Den of the Bugbear. Okay, my opponent didn't make me show more cards, but, like, holy hell, the fact that, like, I can just, like, play this, attack, deal 6 damage, throw 1 broadside with the other for 3 more, throw Trinisphere for 5 is fucking absurd. It's so good. Beans. I like Magus of the Moon. I like Magus of the Moon a lot. I think we're racing an Uro. We're trying to stop it from getting into play. I'm not sure how much I like lock pieces here. It's not like they do nothing. Like, they very much do have text, but I don't know how good either really is. If I board out some more lock pieces, Fiery Confluence probably comes in just as something that deals 6 to my opponent's face to supplement the broadside plan. I don't know, Chalice and Trinisphere are still distractions that eat into Leyline Binding resources. I think I like Trinisphere better than Chalice. I think, like, slowing down that whole, like, Force of Will cantrip off Beans engine come endgame is meaningful. This hand is a little action light on the draw. I'm hoping that is acceptable. It might not be. Like, something I say a lot is, like, the lock piece and only lock piece hand, that's not a real plan. In this matchup specifically, a turn 1 resolved Blood Moon is damn near a win. I don't think that's going to happen, but I don't think I can mulligan a hand that does that, like, has mana to cast other threats, even if in the midterm one of those threats is just like a 2/2. Alright, cast your Ponder. Find your force. Say prayers to your appropriate god. Make peace with your mana. Fantastic. We will start with Blood Moon. Show me a force. It has to be Force of Will. Or sorry, if I play Magus, it has to be Force of Will and can't be Force of Negation. But Magus is... Shit, it just resolved. But Magus is a more answerable card. Is why I opted for Blood Moon first on the off chance that it does actually resolve. Are we just done here? Okay, no, that helps a lot. I'm 100% following up with a Magus of the Moon, though. Like, keeping my opponent's mana taxed here. Alright, there is Basic Island. So Hydroblast is live. I'm going to Chrome Mox and imprint the Spirit Guide. I think I just want that persistent mana. And then we jam Magus as backup. Sure. Alright. I am going to attack with this Magus of the Moon. There's a small chance that something like a Snapcaster Mage jumps in front and it's a little bit awkward, but There are potentially other basics in my opponent's deck, or it wouldn't be crazy for them to play like Force of Vigor or something and like have a chance at knocking these out. So we do want to keep the pressure up. Speaking of pressure, that is exactly the sort of thing I'm looking for here. Like, this is a threat that spirals and it turns Broadside from a good draw into an insane draw, as I just get a chain of shocks off of that every turn. Yep. Anyway, Blood Moon is a okay Magic card, just in case you were wondering. Rabble gets big. Opponent's at 6. I could drop this Chrome Mox naked prior to playing the Trinisphere, but I don't think that matters. Like, I think my opponent's just dead here. And they are. That is a 4-1 finish, with our only loss being to that very good Dark Depths sequence. Yep, so this card is exactly as good as I thought it was. And I'm just going to pull up an old tweet that I did here. November 17th. I think this is the best card from Lost Caverns of Ixalan for Legacy. I don't think it's close. I think you saw it today. This card is insane. Stapled together into one. It is an evasive haste creature that can be board control or can convert bad cards in your deck or like currently unneeded cards in your deck into 2 or more points of damage. And being able to like turn a redundant Trinisphere that you draw in the endgame that normally is nothing into Lava Axe is absolutely insane. And while this card looked good today in this video, I don't think we saw the highs of this card, right? Like, I don't think I ever chucked a Trinisphere, Caves of Chaos, Adventurer, or Fury at one of my opponents. Like, I think I mostly chucked 0 drops to get the small creatures out of the way and convert treasures into shocks. So, like, the ceiling of this card is even higher than what was present in this video. And tomorrow I'm going to try it out in Goblins, where we can actually huck a Muxus at our opponent's face. And I have a feeling that is going to be even grosser than what I saw today. So folks, let me know what your thoughts are down in the comments below. I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day. And if you want to try out this deck, remember there's a link in the video description. And if you need cards, check out Cool Stuff Inc. Use promo code ThrabenU to save 5% on your order. All right, have a great rest of the day. See ya.